seriously, son. I was just watching a video called Trisha Payta Causing Eating Disorders on YouTube by the Light Twins, and that's a great video, but that's not the thing that I want to talk about. I wanted to talk about one of the comments that I saw on the video, and this comment is about binge eating and does veganism actually help with binge eating? So I wanted to share my thoughts. This is the comment. It says, veganism is never going to fix things like binge eating. It is a mentally degrading thing. It has nothing to do with what foods you are eating. Veganism is not going to fix her. She has mental problems that your body will never be able to fix. You guys don't know what you are talking about apparently. She's not promoting anything. Mind your business. Plant-based lifestyles are not the best way to live for some people. You can binge as a vegan, gosh. So there was a lot in that comment and also a lot of likes. There was 23 likes on that comment that was made 4 days ago, and people supporting her and saying that people who don't know anything about mental illness and think veganism can and will fix everything, and it won't. So I wanted to share my opinion on it and just break down the comment into things that I can discuss. So I personally have never suffered from an eating disorder or binge eating disorder. So of course I have had times where I was really hungry just by accident, not intentionally, and then I would of course binge on something and just eat a lot of food because I was hungry. But I've never gone through a binge eating disorder, so when I'm talking about it, it's not from experience. I'm just talking from observation and reading and what I know about it. So hopefully it's still helpful to you. So the first thing I wanted to address was the statement, veganism is never going to fix things like binge eating. And in a way, that's true. So veganism is an ethical way of living. It's not a diet. So you could eat anything that you want as a vegan as long as it's not an animal product. So if you're going to be a vegan, it doesn't mean that you are not going to have a binge eating disorder, because there are still foods that you could eat as a vegan that aren't healthy, that are still high in calories and very dense and fatty and will not do any good to your body, but you will eat them because you're binging. So yes, you can still have a binge eating disorder as a vegan, but I don't think it's correct to say that veganism is never going to fix things like binge eating. I think a better way to say this would be a plant-based diet can help with binge eating. Because I don't think it's totally fair to say that veganism will never fix things like binge eating. In essence, it is correct, but it's not quite fair to say that a plant-based diet will never help. And she's right in saying that it's a mentally degrading thing, in that you have to decide in your own mind to get over the disorder and to help yourself. So people with eating disorders are definitely suffering mentally, and they have to make the choice to get better if they want to get better. And it is hard. It's not easy. So it is a mental struggle every day for people with eating disorders, whether it's binge eating or anorexia or orthorexia, to get over the mental issue and to change the attitude toward their own body and how they view food, how they view life. So it is a mental thing, and being vegan doesn't necessarily fix those mental issues. And another thing that Girl Blog said was, it has nothing to do with what foods you are eating. And that's what I disagree with, because I think that your mental state does depend on the foods that you eat. I think everyone can agree that there's a difference between eating a fatty vegan cake and binging out on that, and binging out, say, on a lot of fruit or starch. So you're going to have a different bodily reaction to the different foods, and it's not quite right to say that food has nothing to do with your mental state. Girl Blog also says that she has mental problems that your body will never be able to fix. So your body and your mind are very connected. The the way that you nourish your body definitely feeds the way that your mind thinks. So if you're deprived of carbohydrates, if you're deprived of food, of course, you're going to have a more unstable mental state, and you'll feel like you have less control over your emotions when you are hungry. So definitely there is a link between how your body feels and how you nourish your body and your mental state. So I don't agree with her statement that mental problems are not fixed by your body, or at least how your body is treated. And she says, "You guys don't know what you are talking about, apparently." She's not promoting anything, mind your business. I think that was not very nice to say to the Light Twins, because they're doing such a good job with their videos and promoting the healthy vegan lifestyle, and they do it in such a nice and positive way, which is what I really admire about them. They always encourage the person that they're doing a video about, and I don't think it's fair to say that they should mind their own business, because they're just trying to help people. Girlblog also said that plant-based lifestyles are not the best way to live for some people, and I disagree with that. So of course, as a vegan, I am biased. I will say that it's the best way, but definitely ethically it is the best way to live plant-based, because you're not intentionally killing any animal, so you already have that moral advantage. And even from a health perspective, if you compare a healthy vegan diet to a relatively healthy meat eating diet, the healthy vegan diet is still going to be healthier, because you've eliminated those animal products that are full of saturated fat, cholesterol, hormones, endotoxins, and animal proteins that can raise IGF-1 and your cancer risk. So a healthy vegan diet is healthier than a healthy meat eating diet. So I do think that plant-based is the best way in terms of ethics and health, and definitely for the environment. If you watch Cowspiracy, she also says you can binge eat as a vegan. Gosh, so that's true, you can binge eat as a vegan, but it depends again on what you're basing your diet on. So what she says later on is that pasta, nuts, rice, and other fatty foods are still available to vegans. You would have to do a raw till 4 and not do much binge eating, which I think is a ridiculous way of living. So her English isn't all there in the sentences, so it's a little hard to translate and make sense of it, but I think I know what she means. So she lumps pasta and rice with nuts and other fatty foods and saying they're all available to vegans. And yes, you do get a wide variety of food as a vegan. You can eat high carb foods or high fat or high protein. You can eat almost anything as a vegan, as long as it's not an animal product. And with pasta and rice, they are high carbohydrate foods, and you can put low fat sauces on them, and you can eat them with vegetables. So you can eat a low fat diet based on pasta and rice, and you will be satisfied because of the high carbs and the high fiber in those foods. And I don't think it's fair for Girlblog to just lump it together with the nuts and other fatty foods. There is a difference between eating the fatty foods and eating the pasta and rice and filling up on the healthy foods. If you fill up on healthy foods, you are much less likely to binge eat. I know for myself that I am less prone to eating junk food when I filled up on healthy food beforehand. And I do have a video that I've done about 2 years ago about how to avoid junk food cravings, and the main advice in that is to fill up on the fruits and starches, to fill up your body with carbohydrates and fiber and whole plant foods, and you will feel a lot better. You'll have more control over your emotions and your hunger as well. She said that you would have to do a raw till 4 and not do much binge eating, which I think is a ridiculous way of living. So I think what she's saying is that raw tofu is a ridiculous way of eating, even if it does help with binge eating. But she doesn't specify why it's ridiculous. So I know a lot of people have different thoughts about raw tofu and whether it works or not. But in my opinion, it's just a variation of a high carbohydrate vegan diet, which is reputable. It's promoted by the plant-based doctors. So the plant-based doctors don't promote raw tofu, but raw tofu does fit into what diet in general the plant-based doctors are promoting. They promote high carbohydrate, low fat, based on whole plant foods, eating as much starch and fruits as you want. It's just that raw tofu is a bit more strict in that Freely and Durian Rider recommend the fruits earlier in the day because they're more easily digested and pass through your body more quickly. So it just reduces bloating and any other problems that you might have with digestion if you just keep the fruits separate in your diet and then have the cooked foods later at night. So that's the way I see it. And with the calorie recommendations, they're there to prevent people from under eating, and their motto is to eat more to do more. If you eat more, you're getting more nutrition in your body and you're also having more energy to do more things. So you don't have to be physically active to need the energy from the food that you eat. Mentally, you need energy. You need energy to do whatever you want to do in life. If you want to do it with passion, you do need energy. And it doesn't mean that you have to eat until you feel sick. It just means that you eat until you're satisfied. And so for someone like me, I eat till I'm satisfied, and it comes to around 2,400 calories a day, sometimes less, sometimes more, but that's just how it works out for me. And I'm lightly active. I tend to sit down a lot. I sit at the computer or the piano, and I find that eating that many calories means that I won't binge out on junk food. I know that if I eat less than 2,000 calories in a day, I do feel an urge to eat more junk food. So I understand why there's those calorie limits there. Not limits, but calorie minimums. So that's the logic behind that. And yeah, I don't think that raw tofu is ridiculous. It's just a more strict way of eating for certain results, and like, you can't knock it till you try it. So in conclusion, I do agree that veganism will not fix everything. You can still be a binge eater on vegan foods, and even on YouTube there's examples of vegans who eat junk food, who binge out, and probably aren't the best examples of health. But on the other hand, you've got a lot of other vegans who are very healthy and who eat as much as they want, who are really satisfied with the way they eat and no longer suffer from binge eating, and also are less prone to an eating disorder and other health problems because they've changed their diet and based their diet on fruits and starches. As you can see in Trisha Payta's shopping cart, she has Oreos and other pastries and high-fat foods, so those foods are definitely not going to help her. They'll just make her feel worse about herself. If you fill up on healthy foods, you're going to have a more positive outlook on your body. It will affect the way that you feel. And I'm saying that from experience. I definitely feel more energy as a vegan. I feel less sleepy during the day. And yeah, so there's lots of benefits, and even if veganism is not the answer to binge eating, it's the most ethical way to eat, and you can do it in a healthy plant-based way that will help with the binge eating and the eating disorders. That was a lot of tongue twisters. So if you have had a binge eating disorder or another eating disorder and you want to share your experience in the comments, just write down below and let me know what you think, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.